So here's the thing. I have a mixed emotion on this because I feel like, yes, you're right, because she's driving people to maybe investigate things. And I think in some ways this is a good thing, right? Because we all need to wrestle with hard doctrine. Like the whole point of my channel, like that's the theme. It's like you have to wrestle with it. You really have to identify the rule and the exception and find that core true doctrine in every single thing. You can't cherry pick, you can't isolate, you can't only look at the rule. You have to look at exceptions because that's where the deep doctrine is. And I think sometimes like having these types of influencers out there who've left the church and been so public, they're basically like an Alma the Younger, Sons of Mosiah, where they're literally attacking the church like verbally and trying to draw people away from the church, which is what those guys were doing. I feel like in some ways, this can kind of push people to maybe seek answers to some of those hard questions that maybe they've never really thought about or in passing have thought about but haven't spent time on. And to me, this is a good thing because I feel like you have to wrestle with the hard doctrines. You've got to know what to tell your children. They're going to have these questions. They're going to come across things like this on social media. And if you, as a parent, have not spent time answering the hard doctrinal questions that don't get answered over the pulpit at general conference, then what are you going to tell your children when they
Right.
see these things and they have questions? It's like you really got to be prepared. And it's not that I'm not a fan of apologetics, it's that I'm not a fan of getting into it with people in like these core whore debates. Like that's the thing that I'm not interested in. And I'm not interested in debating with Christians
On
about whether
scripture.
or not I'm Christian. This is a waste of time to me. I feel like to me, what apologetics serves is helping to articulate those core hard doctrines. And I don't think we're doing that enough. I actually think that many times we're making excuses and we're focusing on rules and not exceptions. And we're like, I just have faith at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And we're not really getting to the bottom of things. And I personally, in my personal life, have challenged myself to like get to the bottom of something,
Well,
whatever
and
is
this is
on my
one of
mind.
the right, and this is one of the things, one of the reasons why I have delved so heavily into apologetics on practically all of my socials, right? And that is because, like, for everyone who's like, "Oh, I just have faith," or even like with some of the sentiments that you have, Jessica, there are people out there that somehow view like standing up for the faith as contention, and what
Mhm.
and they'll completely misread what Jesus says in First Nephi 11:27, and they leave off a very crucial element. Is like any contention at all is of the devil. No, that's not what First Nephi 11:27 says. It says the spirit of contention is of the devil, and that what is the spirit of contention? It is what stirs up the hearts of men to anger one with another. So yeah, a lot of these people that come at us, whether they're ex-Mormons like Alyssa Grenfell or evangelical Christians or whomever, they will come at us a lot of the times with that spirit of contention. Now there may be times when it is appropriate to swing back, especially when they're coming out of the gate swinging. But then there are other times. This is where listening to the spirit is so important, where you got to be able to take the temperature down. And again, it depends on the circumstance. And if you're listening to the spirit, if you're trying to recognize the spirit, it's like, okay, let's bring it down because this one may actually be receptive to what you have to say and the corrections that you can offer. I have seen that happen so many times. And then there are other times where you just know they're not going to be receptive at all. Like, okay, here we go, square up. That's the kind of thing that we have to be willing to do. Not to go seek out fights. That's not the point. But we need to be willing to stand up for the faith when they come up against us.